his service. So when he cooks or do that, clean, I go, oh, honey, thank you for washing the dish.
So many times you think that the touch can only happen during the sexual act and the union between that husband and wife. But the touch could be in the small thing, many boxes. But you never know what's inside until you do what?
Open it.
Open it. All right, and then hold up this, and you'll see that there are other boxes are inside. And men, we need to be romantic. Keep it real. Welcome to Keep It Real. We are so elated that you have joined us. And you see these three handsome young men here. Now, don't let that handsome adjective fool you because we're old as water. I'm Dr. K. This is Brian Bartholomew. And we'll introduce our special guest, Mr. EMILIAN Victorio White. And he's our special guest on the next two episodes. This is Martin Luther King holiday, and we're going to be coming with you with talking about the ML King, Dr. King, his life, and also we'll find out more about Mr. EMILIAN. He grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. We won't hold that against him because the Cleveland Browns are in town this weekend.
Go Browns!
To play the Texans. He's saying Brown, but Brian will let you know that I'm a prophet, a true prophet. We have gone to the Texan game, and I have prophesied the outcome. But anyway, this is episode number 48, and we're going to be talking about dreams, visions, goals, and success. If you'll flash that up, well, she's putting up our sponsor, that good-looking couple there, Brian and Angelique of the Bartholomew Real Estate Group. There's their contact information. In fact, we want to congratulate him when the camera is flashed on us. He passed his Florida broker's exam. Yay, Brian. I forgot to bring the sparkling cider. We don't drink champagne on the set. But anyway, we want to congratulate you for being a sponsor as well as passing the exam. I know that you were sweating bullets.
I was.
And in fact, you didn't even get to look at the last game because you had to study. And you were fretting and frantic and biting your nails, but the Texans won, and they're going to win again. Don't you all pay no attention to this man from Cleveland?
Go Browns!
All right, he keeps saying that, but he's in Texas, and therefore we're going to run him out of Texas. Woo. All right, Dreams, Visions, Goals, and Success, episode number 48. And we want to we thanked our sponsors already. Let's find out who Mr. EMILIAN is. And therefore, if you'll put up his bio, there he is, former Prez, CEO, amazing 102.5 FM Houston, a radio personality, radio and music titan, mogul. He's also has some dealings with some top music celebrities, and he'll tell you who they were. He's an entrepreneur, consultant, speaker, mentor. Boy, I tell you, I'm just even getting tired mentioning all of his accolades. Community advocate, activist, Kent State University graduate, not too far from Cleveland, husband, father of 4 children, and a grandfather. Well, Mr. EMILIAN, welcome to Keep It Real.
Hey, Dr. K, thanks for having me.
Man, I tell you, did you play basketball also?
Man, I played every sport known to man. Tiddlywinks too. Basketball, football, martial arts, everything I could.
Okay. Well, what was it like growing up in Cleveland? So tell us about your family of origin.
My family, my grandfather moved my family from New Orleans to Cleveland in the 30s. And so that's where my mother was born. And so she decided to get married, and she moved back down to New Orleans in the 80s. So I mean, then that's where I grew up at. It was in Cleveland.
Okay.
And in the projects.
So in the projects, okay.
The projects,
and so, are there any siblings, or are you the only child, or what?
That's a long story. I found out I had 3 brothers.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
No, it's one of them ghetto fabulous stories. I found I had 3 brothers when I was 18, and I grew up with my sister. And so my brothers look just like me, and it's just crazy.
Okay. Who sang that song, Brian? You know, Papa was a roll.
Temptation.
Temptation.
Right. That's
All right. Motown. All right.
Motown, that's
Not too
right.
far from Motown.
That's
Indiana. Isn't the Motown?
No. Detroit.
Detroit. I'm sorry. Detroit. The Jackson were from Detroit. Okay. Go ahead.
Jackson from Indiana.
Right. That's what I said. Jackson from Indiana.
The Jacksons, right.
All right. Temptations from Motown. All great music. You also had an opportunity to work with some well-known music artists. Name a few, and how did you get involved with that?
How much time you got?
Well, we don't have much time, so we have to bring you on for one of our hour shows.
Okay. Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, Teddy Pendergrass, Luther Vandross, Earth, Wind and Fire, Prince, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Earth, Wind and Fire, Barry White, my favorite, Luther Vandross, of course. And so that the OJs, I grew up with the OJs, and how I got into the industry real quick was the fact that a friend of mine was a DJ, and I wanted to be a DJ. And so I went to college. My college professor said, no, DJ's a dime a dozen, get into sales. So I got into sales, and that took me to the music industry.
So, and then you were also a radio personality.
Not a radio, I was a radio sales.
Radio sales.
I did some radio personality because I was so clever and humorous and had a big personality.
That's how we met in radio sales.
So I would be on the morning show with Funky Larry Jones,
Yep.
and people like that.
So you contemporary with Tom Joyner?
I've met him a couple of times, but he's a different kind of person. Let's not get into that.
All right.
Okay.
Well, he's retired now. I don't
He's
think
retired, but
right.
he's still doing something.
Okay.
He's doing a cruise.
Okay.
Right.
All right, Brian, chime in, and you brought him on, so we want to thank you. We wanted someone renowned for this weekend that's been around, and he's going to talk about the Martin Luther King. He said he grew up in the projects, and so during the 60s when Martin Luther King was assassinated, a lot of the inner city black cities, so much riots and whatnot. He went to Kent State, and he also knows Angela Davis and played ball, he said, with her brother. And so we'll find out more, but we're going to let you ask him some questions, and then we'll get right into our topic.
Oh, here we go.
Well, first of all, I just want to, it's amazing to have Emilia White on the show. Not only is he a friend, a big brother, we met over 25 years ago in radio.
Right.
And as he said, he's been there and done all those things that we talked about. But I couldn't think of a better person when it comes to the community activism and being involved in that era to talk about that and expound. Really, I would like to just understand what was it like during that time, and what was your experience, and what were some of the challenges, maybe?
Yeah, part of life then, when you're poor, growing up on government milk powder.
Don't forget the peanut butter and the cheese.
And canned peanut butter and all that stuff. So, you appreciate life, we're on the welfare plan, food stamps. So, it was like, you're in your own certain area, you didn't know any better. But, I had the vision of getting out of that atmosphere or that environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, I always wanted to grow because my grandmother had a 4th grade education, and what happened was she would travel all over the world. She'd buy a new car every 4 years. I said, wow. So I wanted to aspire like that. I didn't want to grow up with the rest of the kids in the ghetto. So, I went to college, and then I just fell into the broadcasting industry, and it was interesting how I got to see the Jackson 5 the first time I went. I couldn't afford to go to the show, so I climbed up the wall at the Coliseum in Cleveland. I climbed up and went through the bathroom and saw the show. I was like right here with the Jacksons.
So that's what started it off for you.
It kind of, but
It started with the vision, though. You said that you had a vision. You wanted to do something more.
I wanted to do something different.
You wanted to do something different.
I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer, but an architect.
Okay.
And let me give you the definition of dream as an aspiration, ambition, ideal, and desires. And it takes dedication and also resiliency, enthusiasm, energy, and attitude. You got to have a positive mental attitude and motivation Dream plus discipline plus diligence gonna get you to your destiny. And you heard Mr. Emilian say he had a vision. A vision is the ability to think about a plan of action, future endeavor with imagination and wisdom. And it takes a blueprint, an architect. He has to have a blueprint. So many people don't have a vision for their lives. They feel like they got to be stuck like Chuck. And sometimes you can take the persons out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of the person and whatnot. So vision is not seeing things as they are, but as they will be. So won't you expand about the vision, and then we're going to talk about goals and talk about the dream that Martin Luther King had. And before you do that, let me just give a shout out. When Martin Luther King got that speech, I have a dream, he went to where I was born on the island of Bimini, Bahamas, which is 50 aeronautical miles from Miami, Florida. And my cousin, Captain Ansel Saunders, he's 88 years old. He was the captain. Martin Luther King asked him to take him out where there would be serene tranquility. He took him out to the mangroves. I've been out there, and that's where he got that inspiration.
Wow.
And so that's really great. And they're asking, can any good thing come out of Cleveland? And here we have
Go Browns.
Boy, he's not going to live that down, but man, I'm going to just whoop side his head when CJ, is that his name?
That's right, CJ Stroud.
And then also that coach. But anyway, all right, you had a vision to get out. Tell the people, look in that camera, how they may be at a certain posture, place, position in life, but how they can dream and how they can have vision and set goals to be a success like you.
You know, Dr. K, is very interesting. I'm sitting here in front of a camera because of the fact that growing up, I used to stutter. And I couldn't read at all because of the fact that I went to elementary school. They didn't teach you English. And so I used to stutter really bad, and I couldn't read that well. So my idea was to get better, fix my teeth, get better, read, learn how to read, and be able to speak in front of people, in front of the class. So, I grew up and aspired for that reason, so I can be better, do better, because I don't want to look like a big dummy. I'm 6'5.5". Walk into a room.
6'5".
6'5.5". Give my 6'5.5". I walk into a room, and I'm one of the first things you see. So you never get a second chance to make that first impression. So I want to be impressionable when I'm working. And when I speak and when I open my mouth, I want to have something valid to say so that I can help other people aspire to where I came from. And that's what I'm all about. I give out prayers every morning, and I try to help people to come up in life and say something positive and be positive. And that's what it's all about. That's what God wants you to do, is to be able to give back. Give love and give back. Not necessarily take, but it's better to give than receive, and I value that.
All right, Mr. Brian.
Wow, that's a tough act to follow, but I can certainly validate. As Emilian said, just giving back, really focusing on positive attitude. What can we do to help somebody in some whatever way? I think for me, the vision, the drive came from my background wasn't as humble maybe as some of the others, so I don't have that story. But at the same time, I came from a family that my parents were separated. So that has its own dysfunction and dynamics in itself. I was also the only child, right? So my mom was busy working just to provide food and a roof over my head. So the drive had to come from within me. Hey, I want to do better. Hey, I want to be the best. Hey, I want to push harder. Hey, anything that I can do or I want to do, I can do it. Just figure it out. So that propelled me to be the top in the class. That propelled me to whatever I wanted to do.
Like Cinderella.
Drive to do it.
In your own little corner, you can be what you want to be.
You can be what you want to be, and that's the drive that I still use today. Anything I want to do, and I tell my kids the same thing.
And it's a mindset.
Anything you want to do.
Positive mental attitude.
Starts right here.
All right.
If you can't see it here,
that's true.
You don't believe it here.
All right.
It's not going to happen.
That song, I Believe I Can Fly. All right. And Peter Pan wasn't the only one who flew.
Right.
But Go ahead.
You can believe it, but if it's not instilled in here,
In your heart.
also in your heart, you know, and you have the determination to go for it.
That's the
you know,
action.
right?
The
That-
action
that-
part.
Action.
Yes.
Action.
You can think it, but if you don't
Uh-huh.
try
Apply
to
it.
achieve, apply itself, you know, it's just going to be there laying dormant. And I try to give everybody I meet a little push, so you got more in you. I push them.
The
every morning.
encouragement.
I push everybody that I come in contact. Push. Come on, you can do this. You got more to give.
Well, let's fast forward to now. We're saying that this is the Martin Luther King holiday. He would have been 95 on
Wow.
January the 15th.
Right.
And then this is the first time in years that his birthday falls on the actual holiday.
Right,
And prior
right.
to coming on the set, the lights, camera, and the action, we were talking about it's a holiday. And so many of our young people, they don't understand the civil rights movement. You grew up in that area. You talked
Right.
about playing ball with Angela Davis. They were activists.
Right.
And they were seen, and the Black Panthers, they were seen in a negative light. But, you know, just like James Brown, when that movie came out,
Say
he
it
was
loud.
singing that, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Because we had so low self-esteem about ourselves. You know, like people would tell us who we are. We would assimilate when we have a culture and identity. So talk about what we need to do. Well, talk about when you were growing up, some of the things you experienced. There were race riots. And then also, what is this day meant? Not just on the day, oh, I got a free day out of school. Some places, some jobs are closed down, etc.
See, my thing is, I don't think we had necessarily low self-esteem. We've always been a proud people, the blacks, because you know we've been through so much, and that they won't give us credit for, because we've achieved so much that they try to push up under the rug. Our education, our heritage, you know, the slave ships, the slavery, and on and on and on. They don't want us to know where we come from and what we've done. So therefore, you know, my generation to this generation, you know, don't really know about what Martin Luther King achieved, what he helped us do in the process. So they want to take away diversity and inclusion and the jobs. And so what is that doing? They're trying to push us back another 50 years because scared. Because
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is
Knowledge is
power.
power. But you know, if we don't have the knowledge,
We're lost.
We're lost. And so that's why we need to keep sharing. We need to share what Martin Luther King achieved, what he instilled in us, and why it's not just another holiday.
And it's not about color, it's about your character as
Yes.
well.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so we need to be educated on Martin Luther King and our black historians every day. Every day. They know their history. They're going to tell you about their history, where they came from, but you know, our history, they don't want us to know. So they're
We
taking
have a
books
lot
out-
of history.
Knowledge is power.
They're taking books out of schools. What's this, the new one they have, this new saying that they're coming up with some bull crap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you're
all
talking
the time.
about.
You know,
Yes.
they come with something so
Yes.
that we won't know. So we won't know. We want to make
Critical race theory.
Critical race theory.
Right.
Yes.
And so it's sad, you know, that they're scared. They're afraid of us, that we're gaining power, and they're losing color because the diversity, the diverse relationships, you know, is not helping. Right. We can go deep in this, but I don't want to take up a lot of time.
Well, you know,
Well,
during the time of the civil rights, you know, they were all racist, and so we don't want you to think that we are putting any races down. That's
No.
not what we're about.
No,
or
I'm not
anything
doing
like
that. I'm just saying.
Okay, because we want African Americans to know who they are. So, what is this
Be
day?
educated. Be educated.
What is this day all about, in your opinion?
Well, it's about service, about what we can do to help service one another and service our society, our community. Give back to our community to help us grow, and that is what it should instill is growth, education, and prosperity for our community. You know, we could if we got together, all the money we spend,
Networking.
all the money we spend in society on clothes and jewelry and stuff. You know, if we invest our wealth rather than wearing our wealth, just think about what we become and where we would be. You know,
Okay.
you would own this building, not just leasing a piece of the building. You might own the building, but anyway, you know, we need to prosper and grow together, not just be like the Joneses, you know.
Keeping up with
Yeah,
them.
keeping up with
You
them,
know what
right.
I learned, Mr. Emilian?
Tell me, Emilian.
True, well, you know, you're contemporary with me. True millionaires, you'll never know they're millionaires. I've known some millionaires.
Right.
They don't go and they don't have to have all of the bling.
Right.
They don't drive the most fancy car. They don't go, and there's nothing wrong with that if you got the money and you want to do it. They don't go buy their wives a 4-carat rock, spending all this millions of dollars on that.
They buy
Real
cut,
estate.
They buy
Very
little cut diamonds.
Right.
You know, all them little crystals. That
Right.
ain't real. There's no investment in that.
Yeah.
You know.
And not only that, they invest in real estate and stocks, and they leave an inheritance down
Yes.
to the
They
fourth
create a
generation.
legacy.
They
create
legacy,
generational
legacy.
wealth.
money.
That's-
Legacy
that's what
money.
it's really about.
I was learning something about the Rockefellers and who else? The Fords and all of this.
The Vanderbilts
the
and Ford.
Vanderbilts and all of them, and that's what we need to do.
The Gettys
Well,
right.
well, tell us, in your opinion, you know, like you were talking about eating the government cheese and peanut butter and
Yeah,
other
peanut butter
things.
powder.
You know, we may have grown up in that, but we did not act like we were poor. I
Yeah.
never knew we were poor.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, I didn't know-
know.
yeah,
Happy as
yeah,
I
and-
can possibly be. I'm, you know.
And let me tell you
Right.
what my vision is. You shared yours was when I was in high school, I wanted to see the world and get an education. And so Mr. Fortenberry, who was our counselor at Forest Hill, we went through integration, and we had to leave our school, and I wanted to graduate from Roosevelt. And I remember crying when they bussed us and whatnot. But that was my ticket
Right.
out of West Palm Beach. I traveled the world. He
Wow.
called and gathered about 50 young men, some African, some Hispanic, African American, some Hispanic, some Caucasian. Some joined the Army, the Navy, the Marines. I joined the best, the Air Force. And I want you to know I got to see the world, and I'm still seeing the world.
Right.
And then
Wow.
not only that,
Right.
I had started my doctoral degree program before I retired,
Right.
and 2 years later, out of 25 that started in the program, African Americans at
Right.
Bethel University, only 2 of us graduated.
Wow.
Right.
And that took, see, you can have a dream for something, but see, your dream,
You gotta have discipline.
Got to have
You gotta
discipline.
have action. You
got to have all of that.
sacrifice.
You got to have all
yeah,
of that.
motivation. Yeah,
And
grit,
discovery,
determination.
a dream, discovery, discipline, development,
Right.
and then you come into your destiny.
Action. Right.
Yes.
All right.
But you said something interesting about the fact that you didn't want to leave your crying about moving, but you know we're afraid to change a lot.
That's true.
We don't like change. You know, we get
That's
in
a
our
big
comfort
point.
zone and our complacency, and then we don't want to move, and so.
Is it that we don't want to move, you think, or is it fear associated with movement
I mean,
and
you
not
get
knowing
complacent,
what's on
right.
the other side? I
But-
think there's a big,
But when
fear is a
get
big
to-
part
when
of
you
it.
get that other step, you say, "Wow, what is this? What have I been missing?"
Right, baby step.
Right, a baby
All right.
step. So you know, a lot of people are afraid to change, afraid to move, and afraid to get out there. But you know, have no fear.
Well, you know,
God
it's
doesn't
been-
want you to
I
fear.
think people listen to the noise,
Yeah.
the little voice in their head, or they
Uh-huh.
listen to others around that may speak negatively. It's real easy to find that kind of support rather than positive support.
Right.
So they listen to the negative talk, and
You got to think on
that
your
stops
2 feet,
them.
though. You got to think
That's
on
true.
your 2 feet.
That's true.
You know?
And you know, so many people are compliant, but let me say this about change. It's been said that the only one that really wants to change. We can talk change, but the baby that's in a soiled diaper, they really want to change. They want out of that thing. But anyway, stop pursuing unexciting dreams. What excites you in your youth may bore you when you're older. Be willing to relinquish previous goals that no longer stimulate you, and then don't be a prisoner to dreams. And that's where that change and that resiliency come in and whatnot. So as we wind down, I'm going to
Don't forget
ask,
about growing. Always continue to grow.
continue to grow.
You got to continue to grow. If you don't grow, you stay still. You know, where are you? Who are you?
Going backwards if you're
Right.
not growing.
Right. You got to move forward.
Always be moving forward.
And you know, you got to commit to your goals, and there is power in your commitment. And then with growth, you got to grow. You can't you look at the aging process. We start off as an embryo. a baby, and then we go to a child, adolescent, and then young man. Something is wrong if you're still at home, living with mom and whatnot. Success is doing what you love and loving what you do. How would you define success, and what are you doing what you love right now? And then I'm going to ask you that question.
Yeah.
How would I define it? I'm happy. That's the key. I'm happy in terms of doing what I do when I get ready to what I do, and when I want to do it. And success is being, at some level, being IW, which I call independently wealthy. So you don't have to rely on other people and other means of support for yourself. You can rely on me and not be dictated to by the man or by the job or by the 9 to 5. And that's where you want to be in life. Be successful so that you can appreciate life in itself, because there's so much to live, and we don't get a chance to when we're working 9 to 5 for somebody every day, and it gets boring, it gets monotonous. You get stagnant in your dreams, your thoughts, and your ways, and you get mad. You get upset. So that's success for me. And be happy and always be filled with God.
All right. 30 seconds.
For me, success is really about just being free to do what I want to do when I want to do it. There isn't a dollar value necessarily attached to it, but it is the ability to impact someone in a positive way, no matter whatever I do in sales. And I found that I was actually one that actually did not know what I wanted to do as I was going up and graduating from high school. But I discovered that common denominator was helping people. So anytime I'm helping someone, that I can provide a positive impact in someone's life, that's one of the greatest things for me. And creating generational wealth for my family has been the biggest goal. And I realized today that, I wanted to be a doctor, but you know what? I got several doctors in my kids. So that's produced generational wealth for me.
All right.
Give it back.
Let's put up his contact information. And so I'm sure there he is, his Instagram, and also that's your Facebook. All right, so go and you look like what's the weatherman name on the morning show? Has anybody told you that? Rucker? Is that his name?
Oh, Al Rucker?
Al Rucker. You look like Al a little bit there.
Please don't do that.
Okay.
Please don't do that.
All right.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
5 seconds. 5
That
seconds.
big head Al right
5
now.
seconds. Who's going to win the playoff?
Go Browns.
Texans.
Go Browns.
Okay, go Browns. All right. We want to thank you for joining us on this Martin Luther King weekend. And you can have a dream, and don't be limited in your dream. Don't let anybody squash your dream. Benjamin E. Mays, he was minister, educator, former dean of Howard University Seminary School, former president of Morehouse College, and mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King, stated, "It must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life does not lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goal to reach. It is not a calamity to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to dream. It is not a disgrace not to reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach for. Not failure, but low aim is sin." And here's the moral of the quote: vision, dreams, goals, keep dreaming and aim high. If you aim at nothing, you will miss the bull's eye or the mark every time. So we want to wish everybody a happy Martin Luther King birthday, happy Martin Luther King holiday, and therefore we want you to give back, because a giver is a gainer, and serve your community and give somebody a hand up. And so if you can put up our picture of that beautiful bride, she'll be back the first of the month to give our proclamation. She said, "I'll do the first one, and you and Brian and Angelique take the in-between." There's our Keep It Real TV 49. We'll be on Facebook also, and we are in South Africa on Keep It Real, 2 million viewers. Go, thank you, Mr. Charles, for making that happen with the algorithm. If you want to be a sponsor, 346-813-0222, and send in your views to our email. On the count of 3, let's look at the camera and let's say to each of them, until next week, we want you to keep it real. 1, 2, 3, keep it real.
My answer too long for you.